this is the car the wife and I drove away from our wedding in.
Oh, wow.
This is a car that I used to take to the drag strip on date night. She'd watch from the stands. This is the car that...
Hold on. You took your wife to a drag strip on date night, and she would go in the stands and just watch you?
She loved it.
Welcome to the shop. My name is Tavarish.
I'm Jared.
And this is Wrench Every Day. Now, we are not at my shop. Again, we are at Site B, and in the last episode, we showed Jared's pride and joy Honda Rousey 1985 Honda Accord limo. But Jared has more projects than just that.
Yeah, there's some other kind of fun things hidden around here.
They're not going to be right on the channel right now, but I feel like they could be like a more long-term project, or just, you know, we'll feature them at some point. I thought that they were really, really cool, so I figured that you guys wanted to see them. Let's just start at the top.
All right, 1963 Bentley S3.
Okay. Unfortunately, this is not your car, right?
This one is not my car. A good friend of mine, we were working on this at a shop I used to work at, and it became orphaned, and I brought it here to finish up for him. Done a full mechanical restoration. We did disc brake conversion. The factory brakes go out basically every 2 years. Even if you don't drive the car, within 2 years the brakes just go out, and that's $12,000 to $15,000. It's outrageous. So we did a disc brake conversion front and rear, rebuilt the factory engine, but this has a horrible carburetor system in it. So my friend Bill Hamilton...
These are the SU carburetors originally?
SU carburetors. This is oil. This would actually be... I got it on real tight from the conversion, but there'd be a little dipstick attached to that to check and modify your oil. We had it tuned running amazing, temperature changed, and it quit wanting to work. I hate carburetors. So we actually did fuel injection conversion within these carburetors. Bill came up with these amazing adapter plates where we're actually hiding GM TBI injectors in each one. And other than, you'll see some fuel hoses I still have to finish up, and I've got to tuck the wiring away, and a couple extra sensors, it looks completely stock.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
So we did that, updated the AC system, new interior, all new wiring. Lucas Electronics are terrible. They just rot, and their cloth line, that the cloth dissolves and shorts out. The story behind this was, in the 80s, my friend's dad moved to Germany, and the wife said he could get any vehicle he wanted except a Rolls, because they're too pretentious.
Right, so he got a Bentley. So
which is a Rolls Royce with a different nose. That is the most man thing to do.
This interior is really nice.
Yeah, Tim's upholstery actually had completely reconditioned it. Like, you could just curl up. Like, it is so plush. It is amazing.
Very, very nice.
The carpet alone, like the materials for the carpet, I think was $6,000.
Ooh, wow.
It was intense. So
why not? I mean, why not Ella swap one of these?
I suggested at the very beginning to do just a stock big block swap. And he was like, it's got to say Bentley. It's got to be original. And I told him I would personally buy the valve covers that said Bentley, like to make it. And they really wanted original, so that's what we did. Another quick little fun fact, if you watch Hoovie's Garage, in his Bentley video, they were recently repairing the door motors. It's almost the exact same motor, chain, everything inside here. I laughed. From 1963, it's the same. They're a little sticky, but these are adjustable.
Oh, adjustable, of course.
So, to make it as comfortable as possible.
So, these don't have the suicide or carriage doors, right?
Nope. So, but it is...
Wow.
It is so plush.
That is really, really nice. So, they're not going to want to sell this, right?
No.
Oh,
so,
wow.
That does a nice... There's stuff I don't want to...
Yeah.
But
wow, this thing is amazing. But this is really nice, but not yours.
No.
Let's look at really nice, but is yours.
It's dirty, but this is my 1991 twin turbo R Supra.
Wow.
Imported from Japan. Other than its filth, it's one of the nicest that I've ever seen coming in the country. It still has the factory front lip, the brake cooling ducts. What makes this unique against other third generation Supras is Toyota finally accepted they were too heavy, and kind of in preparation for the fourth generation, they put this car on a diet and got it under 3,400 pounds.
Oh, that's not bad. That's like the Mark IV Supra.
Yes, and compare it to the silver one, this factory weight is 4,100 pounds.
Wow, so it's 700 pounds difference.
Lighter. You don't get ABS, you don't get cruise control.
Do you get any animals living in your engine bay?
Hopefully not. So.
Oh, I know that engine. That is a 1JZ GTE 2.5 liter twin turbo. These are ceramic turbos, right?
No. Steel.
So you
steel in the Supra. So you can push them a little bit harder.
Are you sure?
99%, but not 100.
But
maybe they're ceramic. At any rate.
Yeah, okay, we'll
okay.
You guys in the comments can let me know, but
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure that they're ceramic.
I have fully functioning hydraulic fans, and I'm going to keep it and keep repairing them.
Why?
So many people throw them away because they're more efficient.
Well, why don't you just put the regular fan on it?
Because these are quieter and take less power from the engine. So when the engine doesn't need to be turning a fan, the hydraulic pumps in bypass, so there's not a parasitic draw of your horsepower. Where with a mechanical fan always spinning, there is always a parasitic loss. They have larger intercoolers from the factory, bigger sway bars, just lots of really cool bits and pieces. Unfortunately, I've not been able to enjoy this for a while because the transmission's out of it.
The R154?
The R154. I had a customer desperately needing a gear set, and we could not find one. So I took apart the car I absolutely love.
Okay, hold on. So a customer needed a part for a car, and you took it out of your own car.
Yeah, I took my car apart.
He better be sending you Christmas cards. Yeah. I mean, like, seriously. So what trans are you putting in here?
So I will be getting another R154 back for it. I've been working with a company called PGS. They build billet gear sets for the R154 and a lot of other transmissions. So I have a billet gear set coming for it, which I will never need for this car, but that's what I'm replacing. So I will also be getting a R154 dog box. They make a non-synchronized dog box because the biggest
So that's straight cut gears, like the whining.
Well, no, so it will have some almost straight cut, but they're all a helical profile, but they have just the dog teeth. So you just slam it. You don't clutch it. You slam as hard as you can through each gear.
Also, I noticed that no sunroof, no Targa top, hard top.
Hard top only. Factory, they came with Recaros. These are not the factory Recaro set, and also factory it came with a Momo wheel.
Are these like Evo seats or something?
No, it's not out of an Evo. It's a catalog Recaro. It's the very wide big boy Recaro. Mm-hmm. And the steering
Are you a wide big boy?
Well, I am.
Are you?
It worked out well. But the steering wheel is the Momo Race, so it's smaller than the factory Momo. Doing a little digging and talking with Japanese Classics, who I bought this from, they told me it came from Kobe, where the beef. So I just picture a fat Japanese farmer. Another real kind of fun thing, so in the US, we always put clear side markers on.
Right.
They put the USDM side markers. In Japan, this had no marking. It would have been clear.
Interesting.
So they actually drilled the holes out to put US side markers.
Cool. So you have a twin here, but it's a little bit different because I see a cage in there. I see, this is a little bit worked on, right?
Right now, it's just empty, but this has really big plans. This is the car when I first moved to Georgia when I was 20 that I bought. Mm-hmm. This is the car the wife and I drove away from our wedding in.
Oh, wow.
This is a car that I used to take to the drag strip on date night. She'd watch from the stands. This is the car that...
Hold on. You took your wife to a drag strip on date night, and she would go in the stands and just watch you?
She loved it. This is the car that my wife proudly outran another car in her first ever street race and was a little worried I'd be mad.
And were you proud?
I was proud. Well, it had an old Gretty Profec B with Mode A, Mode B, and the one rule for her was just...
What's that?
I'm sorry. So Mode A and B were just the preset boost settings.
So it's like a boost controller.
Yeah, it was a boost controller. The Profec B boost controller. And her one rule was to never press Mode B. She could drive it all she wants on A. And one day she just was kind of like... looked a little upset or just standoffish, and I was like, "What's up?" And she's like,
"Press the red button."
She's like, "I got to tell you something." She's like, I pushed mode B. And I was like, okay, why? And she's like, well, the Civic kept revving at a light. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, well, it's not a big deal. And I was like, did you beat him? And she's like, oh yeah. The interior's out of it. I'm building a new trans tunnel. I was going to do a manual 6-speed swap, but decided to kind of gear it a little bit more towards drag racing. So I've got a fully built TH400, line lock, every bell and whistle.
So automatic, that would be a 3-speed or a 2-speed?
It's a 3-speed. The power glides are the 2-speed. The hood's not on the hinges. It's an empty engine bay, unfortunately.
Okay. So this is your long-term project. This is kind of the sentimental one, right?
Absolutely. So it was the one where I made too many choo-choos and blew it up really good. And I'd work
Are you trying to tell me that you blew up an engine? Jared, what happened?
So it's getting a fully built 2J billet main where the main caps, the weak point when you push more than 1,000 horsepower is the actual main caps will split. So it's billet main caps in the bottom, forged connecting rods, forged pistons, a lot of really cool, expensive coatings. I just kind of went all in because it's been apart so long. I want to be able to put it together and not worry about it. It's going to have a Pro EFI. I'm still trying to decide some of the final.
How fast is this car going to be?
Conservatively, it will do an 890.
So 8 seconds in the quarter mile.
When we put the spray on it, it should be about 8.2.
So you're going to do nitrous on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
fine. Just a low 8-second car. Nothing to write home about. It's not a big deal.
Right.
What about that?
This is also a 1971, and it's a little beat up because we were playing in the back grass. It's a 1971 International Harvester Comanche Scout 800B.
Well, that name also isn't very PC for a truck, right?
It used to have butterscotch and white, and then down the side was Indian tribal graphics.
Well, now it has kind of natural butterscotch, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little patina. These are very expensive parts, and I was smashing through trees and over the forest and through the woods and.
To grandmother's house we go. What's
that was a previous accessory.
Is it real?
They cut a hole through it.
Okay.
There's also a really beautiful. I won this as a door prize at the SEBA Winter Meet. And
okay, cool.
Its most use has been pulling trees out.
You got a cover missing here.
Yeah, that would be from when a tree fought back.
Okay.
I bent that up a smidge, but this is the 345 International engine, also fuel injected. And that hood prop loose. This is a truck that shouldn't have been brought back. My very first Scout, I bought accidentally. Mm-hmm. I went out, it was a Scout 2, also 71. This was the last year of this body style and when they started the new one. And my friend and I went and looked at it, Randy, with GRC, and it was bad. It was folding in two, and he and I looked at each other and were like, yeah, no, we don't need to buy this. I know better. Guy wanted like $3,000 and went back, and I told the guy, I was like, I appreciate it, but I'm not interested. And he's like, no, I'll make you a good deal. And I'm like, I'm really not. And I finally was like, listen, I only brought $200 for a deposit. And he's like, sold.
So you got it for $200?
And we towed it back to my friend's place, and it promptly shocked the hell out of him. So I went and bought this one without him to discourage me for $600 while the wife was out of town. I sent her a picture of what it originally looked like, and she replied with, haha, nice joke. And then I sent her another picture of it in front of the house. So this was up north. It had a ton of rust in it. It really was destined for the salvage yard. That's why one of 1,500 is a rare truck. I don't mind bashing it a little bit because that's somewhere out in the field. Mm-hmm. Because it was a lost truck. So we've got hard rock sliders. We're going to build some step rails off of it. He made a real cool roll bar. We've got. I did disc brake conversion, and the easiest way to have parking brake was a drift brake.
Okay, good.
So that is a drift brake.
The hydro brake, right?
Yep, with a proportioning valve. I modified the transfer case so I can have front-wheel drive, high and low, rear-wheel drive, high and low, or, again, four-wheel drive, high or low. The reason you do that is sometimes if you're on a trail and you need to make a really tight corner, front wheel's turning, it can't make that corner. It'll kind of push you wide. So you just disengage it real quick, hook a corner, and pop it back in.
You know what the power move is? Side wheel drive.
Yeah.
So left and right. So you got to get on that level, my friend.
That's when you broke something.
Yeah.
So I've got a set of fully built Dana 44s to go under it right now. It has a tapered Dana 44 rear, a Dana 30 closed knuckle in the front, which those are the axle types made by Dana Spicer.
I wish I knew what those are. I want to get more into off-roading. I love going wheeling, but I just wish I knew more about these trucks. I love the International Scouts because I know that they had a 4-cylinder one, and the 4-cylinder was basically like a V8 just chopped in half, almost literally.
That's what it was. They just forgot this half of the engine.
Yeah.
And the oil pans are the same, the cylinder heads, valve covers, all of that transferred back and forth between the two. So I have put a ton of miles since putting this back together. It's basically a Corvette. I know the Corvette's claim to fame is you can start off...
When you say it's basically a Corvette, I'm going to need you to back up that statement, sir.
Everyone claims the Corvette, you can start it off in one gear and go 0 to 100. I have gone 103 in this truck.
Right.
It was one of the scariest 100+ mile an hour trips I've ever done.
Yeah, I'd say 100 miles an hour on this would...
Yeah.
Oof, okay.
And I can start it off in 4th gear, which is the gear you go 100 miles an hour in. So I can go 0 to 100 in one gear, just like a Corvette.
So it's just a Corvette now.
Yeah, it is a Corvette.
Okay.
High-performance vehicle.
Good.
But as you can see, that hood scoop was functional-ish by dumping water on the engine, but not air. So
it's good. It's generally a good place for water to go.
Another fun part, these grills are very rare and expensive. And again, Randy used to do heating and air, and this is an air intake grill off an industrial AC compressor.
Good.
Which is almost like the purist would be able to tell, but everyone else would be like, oh yeah, that's just an International grill. So
awesome. So I guess that's going to be it for all your projects, but you guys let us know what you want to see, because I honestly don't know. We're going to be working on Honda Rossi. We're going to be working on some other ones. I definitely want to get that Supra going. Like that Supra, I know it means a lot to you. So
that'd be awesome. Because again, that just in life, the car can sit and life happens and it goes back burner, and the money you were saving up, the refrigerator broke or the septic tank needs repair. Like
the refrigerator needs a new septic tank. All life. Yeah, life stuff.
So it kept waiting. So I'm excited to get that one together and share, and maybe we'll call Cooper out.
We should call Cooper out.
It's not fair, but
it's not. Cooper's not ready for this. But okay, you guys let us know what you want to see in the next episodes or just generally on the channel. I don't know. I want to see everything happen.
Yeah.
So just leave us a comment. And until next time, how are we going to end this, Jared?
Make questionable choices.
Make questionable choices, everybody. Bye-bye.